The bread and butter of your online business is content. Really, making content is the most important thing that you do. Whether that content is on YouTube like I do, or a podcast like I also do, or a blog like written content, your content is vital. But occasionally, if you're like me, you might burn out when it comes to making new content. You get tired, you get out of ideas, you get burned out. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what you can do to make content even when you're burned out, what you can do to avoid burnout, and what you can do to make sure that even if you are tired and exhausted and burned out, your content still gets published. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. My name is Lane. Welcome to my channel. I love to help people start and grow online businesses around their passion and skills and knowledge. So if you're into that kind of thing, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And I also want to give you something for free. If you go to lanesebring.com/super simple, you can pick up my free super simple guide to your first $500 online. This is the exact steps that you need to be able to create an online course style business, a passive income style business like I've done. I've got two of them. They are making six figures, soon to be multiple six figures. And in this guide, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It's totally free. Again, that's lanesebring.com/super simple. So when it comes to making content and managing burnout, there are four really important things to remember, and we're going to discuss them in this video. The very first thing you want to do is get ahead on your content. I would suggest making a commitment to being at least 3 weeks ahead on content. The way you do this is to batch record. So instead of, if you're doing videos, for example, instead of doing one video each week where you record the video that week, you edit it that week, you upload it that week, and you schedule it to release that week, all in the same week. Instead, consider recording 3 or 4 all at once, and then uploading 3 or 4 all at once, and then scheduling them out for the coming weeks, 3 or 4 weeks ahead. What that does is it's gonna free your time, and it's gonna free up your brain so that you can focus on other things in your business, but it also prevents burnout because you're gonna be ahead. I have found that when I batch content, it's actually easier to just crank a bunch of videos out at one time because I can pick and choose when I do it. I can batch when I'm feeling energetic and when I'm feeling like doing it, when I'm feeling up to it. And if you're week to week and you're burned out and tired, it's much harder to do it. And it's way easier to just say, well, I'll miss a week, I'll get to it next week. You don't want to do that. You want to batch ahead of time. So the first thing we're going to do is get ahead. The second thing we want to do is actually plan out our batching week. Now, what I like to do is each month I pick a week and I block it off of my schedule. In other words, no one can schedule meetings with me. Every week I do Kajabi meetings with people who use my referral link. I have different meetings that I do with different people, but there's 1 week a month, usually the third week of the month, where I completely mark off my calendar, and that is my batching week. So I can move that around if I want to, but basically I know that on the third week of every month, I'm gonna make the content for the following month. So I'm gonna make a set of 4 or 5 videos that will publish the following week. I highly suggest this because what this does is it allows you to plan ahead and get ahead on your batching and stay ahead. Again, so much of avoiding burnout is having a plan and being ahead. If you have a plan and you're ahead on your content, then you can really manage around fatigue and tiredness and burnout because so much of your content is already done, and it allows for just the normal things in life that happen where you get behind, you get stressed, you get tired, you get overwhelmed. It's okay because your content's already made several weeks out. So plan out the week that you're gonna batch your content and stick to it religiously. Number 3, and this is somewhat related, plan out your individual post ahead of time. So we talked about batching and we talked about getting ahead. This is kind of taking one step back and saying, what are you actually going to make your content about? In other words, if you're doing video, what are the videos going to be about? Plan that out ahead of time. What I do is every year I get away for a couple of days and I literally plan out my entire year. So I will look at my calendar and I will look at the topics that I talk about. So like on this channel, I talk a lot about online business, I talk about passive income, I talk about Kajabi. So within those categories, I will put several ideas for video. And I'm very detailed. I will put the title, the tentative title. I'll put a description of what it's going to be. I'll put some bullets down of what I'm going to cover in the video, so that when the time comes, several months later, several weeks later, when I'm going to be recording that video as a part of my batching schedule, I have everything in front of me, all right there in the spreadsheet, and I'm able to pull the videos I want to do, and I don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel every time. I've done the work ahead of time. So when I sit down to create content, even if I'm burned out and even if I'm tired and I don't feel up to it, I'm not having to do the work right there in the moment of planning out the content of that video. So much of that has already been done in advance. So when you combine those first three things together, you're getting way far ahead. You're getting several weeks ahead, which is going to build in a buffer. You're planning the times when you're going to batch content so that you stay ahead, and then you have actually planned out the content of your videos or your podcast episodes far in advance, and you did it in a time when you were up to it, you had energy and you weren't burned out, so that right now, when it comes time to record that piece of content, number one, you're ahead. Number two, you've planned this and scheduled it. And number three, you're not having to come up with the video in the moment. And all of those things kind of hedge against normal fatigue and burnout that happens. Now, I want to talk about the fourth thing to keep in mind when it comes to burnout and your business and making content. And that is, how can you prevent burnout from happening as a whole? There's a lot of things I could say here, like not doing too much in your business, handing more things off to a virtual assistant, things like that. But let's just say that either you don't have a virtual assistant yet, or that's not on the cards, or if you're like me, the last couple of years, as I've been building my businesses, I've been doing a lot of things, and I was doing a lot of things out of necessity, so I really couldn't pull back until very recently. But there are three things that you can do, and this is kind of under the category of that fourth thing, three things that you can take care of that have nothing to do with any of that, but have everything to do with all of that. And you'll understand what I'm saying when I say this. Number four, the fourth thing you can do is eat well, sleep well, and exercise. Those three things. In other words, take care of your body. Get enough sleep at night, eat clean and eat well, and get some exercise. And what happens is you are going to feel better, you're going to bring more energy to the task, and you're going to avoid burnout. Because I know this, when I'm loading up on soda and potato chips and I'm not getting enough sleep at night, and then I come in here and try to be energetic and try to create content, which takes a lot of energy, it's nowhere near as effective as when I'm eating well, sleeping well, getting my exercise. When those kind of things are happening, I'm far less inclined to be fatigued, far less inclined to be burned out, and I can make way more content. Now, when it comes to content, you need to have a plan, and I want to show you in this playlist right here how to plan your content out, like how to make sure that you've got a good plan so that even if you're burned out, you're staying ahead and everything's working. So click right here and we'll talk about your content plan in that playlist.